Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to another episode. Today we've got none other than Coach D on here. Very excited to have him on. And we're going to be talking about Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos. This is our reaction, everything that went down. And, you know, this is a fight that we're very excited to talk about, I think, me and Coach D, because we're not only high on Teofimo, but now we're high on Kambosos. But I think more than anything, Coach, we were high on Teofimo before this. We were really high on Teofimo before this.
And
I kind of go ahead.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan as well as real high on him. So
Yeah.
I agree with you.
So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what happened here, to be honest with you, Coach. I mean, I think it was, a combination of things, right? I think it was a combination of things. But, maybe you know better than I do. Maybe you know better than I do.
Well, maybe not, but I have a theory. Let me say this. I have rules of thumb, right?
Yeah.
With certain things when it comes to fighting. And one of those rules of thumb that I live off of is that great fighters don't lose to good fighters. Good fighters don't beat great fighters.
Right.
And part of the reason that is what had me the night of the fight, that had me, I never didn't think Tio was gonna clip him. Even losing as bad as he was, I never thought Tio wasn't gonna clip him, right?
Yeah.
And when he did clip him in the 10th, I said, well, that's what I was waiting on, but then he couldn't do nothing about it. So to get back to my original thought, great fighters don't lose to good fighters. Even when good fighters are winning, the great fighter finds a way to win, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm left with this. Did I have Tio too overrated, or did I not rate Kambosos high enough? Because I think we've talked about this matchup for a year now, right?
Yeah.
And I consistently told people, this Kambosos kid can fight, man. He can really fight. I said, but I don't know, can he swap with Tio? I don't know how he's gonna deal with Tio's bombs, the punching power difference. I just don't see, I see that being the disparity between both of them. Now, I wasn't on my own because the damn I was 13-1, which means Kambosos did full ball chance in hell of winning this fight, right?
Pretty much.
13-1.
That's wild, man. That is wild.
The only thing more ridiculous than 13-1 is 40-1 when Douglas beat Tyson, right?
Right.
Because 13-1 is nothing. You can't win. You're going to get destroyed. Tio believed it, definitely. How he came out fighting, very
Extremely aggressive.
terrible.
Extremely aggressive.
Abandoning every fundamental boxing fundamental that he has. But I don't want to take nothing. And when we was doing this, when we said we was going to do this special, this reaction video,
Yeah.
I want to be perfectly clear, man. I do not want to take nothing away from what George Kambosos did that night. Nothing. That kid was phenomenal. That kid did what he said he was going to do. Never was deterred. That first round, Tio treated him like a bum, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he weathered it. He stayed physically sound. Uh, and was looking for that right hand and put it in there. Boom! And set him on his
My
ass.
goodness.
Under that fire.
My
Under
goodness.
that fire.
My goodness, coach.
I don't want anyone, and me and George Kambosos run into the same circle, as you know. So he'll probably see this or see a clip of it.
How so? I mean, how so? How is that?
First,
Wait a minute. You're going to have to explain that to me.
Quentin's manager is George Kambosos'
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
So I don't want to take nothing from Kambosos. In fact, I have zero problem admitting when I was wrong, because asked about the fight, I've been consistently saying that Kambosos is a hell of a fighter. What I've watched of him, he's a hell of a fighter. That dude can fight. I don't think he's gonna be able to trade with Teo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I figured somewhere between 5 and 8, Teo would clip him, right?
From George. Oh shit.
Nothing. I don't wanna talk about when we get to grading Teo's corner and how Teo performed and everything that I thought was shit about that corner. I don't want that to come across as an excuse for why Kambosos won. You follow me?
Yeah.
Kambosos came, saw, and conquered, man, and he deserves all the credit to me. So I am going to lean towards how we started this this podcast. I'm going to lean towards I was underrating Kambosos. Remember I said great fighters don't lose to good fighters?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna just go ahead and say George Kambosos I wasn't personally giving him enough credit. I'm thinking if he's not a great fighter, he's definitely as great as Teo seemed to be, especially at that night.
Right.
So
right.
Especially at that night, he was great at that night. But that kid did a spectacular thing. That kid took his took his own future in his hand, and the most beautiful thing for a coach, at least me, is to watch a kid depend on himself, and he depended on himself.
Yeah.
He never wavered. When Teo came bombing, he grinned, bit down, and the beautiful thing was he was telling everybody the whole build up that I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to crawfish. I'm going to fight if he wants to fight.
Right.
And he did. And he did, man. So I don't want our podcast to come off as if I'm saying, oh, Teo just had a bad day, though I think he did. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, he just had a bad day. That's why George did it. No. You don't dominate a fight, because I gave Teo 4 rounds out of 12.
Wow. Wow.
And I tried to not let me being a fan of Teo slur my opinions of close rounds. I tried my best to not do that, and even with that, I'm still at 8-4. You know?
Yeah. No, we're big Teo fans. We're big Teo fans.
Handedly being beat.
Yeah. You know, it's such a surprise.
What's that?
No, it was. I want to let you continue your thought, but I mean, it was just such a surprise to me. You know, is what I was saying. I mean, I was like you. I predicted Teo the whole way. I didn't expect this at all.
Well, listen, man. I don't want people to get it twisted. I'm a Teofimo fan. I'm not a Junior Lopez fan at all. I would say that me and Teo are acquaintances. I wouldn't say we're friends or nothing, but we're acquaintances.
Yeah.
We've met. We messaged on social media. I'm truly a fan. I truly root for that kid. The 2 times we've been around him, he's as pleasant as a fucking you know, the big word people like to say with fighters all the time is humble, right? Be humble.
Yeah, yeah.
I happen to think that people don't know what the fuck humble means, right? I think when people tell people to be humble, what they really saying is shrink yourself because you're making me feel small.
Right.
Because humble is something different. Humble is not being a jerk or an asshole, but it has nothing to do with being. It has no shade on confidence. A fighter has to be confident.
Yeah.
A fighter has to almost see himself as more, right? But he don't have to be an asshole to do that. You can hear me, John?
Yeah, no, I can hear you. I can hear you just fine. I was just checking it out. I mean, we're a little choppy, but I can hear everything you're saying.
All right, so now his father, I haven't said 2 words to him before and been in the same room, been within 10 feet of him. Why? Man, he ain't my type of dude, bro.
Yeah.
Even when he's by himself, he's that loud. The loud you see on TV,
Yeah.
he's that by his fucking self. He's like that by himself, bro. I've never seen no shit like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this guy is something else. And I think I've kind of likened it to just maybe that's that New York shit, right? You know, I'm a Southern dude. I'm from New Orleans. I'm from the city, but I'm still Southern. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We kill people and say yes. I don't know what they do in New York, man, but it's a different type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas Teo, unless he walks up to you and says, "How you doing, man?" you wouldn't even know he's in the room, bro.
Yeah.
That may sound odd. It may sound odd because when the camera's on, he's trying to do what a fighter needs to do, right? Sell himself.
Right.
But bro, when the camera's not on, I'm serious, G. He's a likable kid, bro.
No, I believe it.
He almost seems square like.
I believe it. It kind of reminds me of the dynamic between Danny Garcia and his dad.
Oh, but Seth Junior Lopez makes Angel seem like he's fucking Leave It to Beaver's dad. That's I think like Angel's at some point Angel went from this guy won't shut up to almost amusing me, right?
Yeah.
Like it almost was amusing to me to listen to him talk.
Yeah.
Where Junior Lopez don't cross me like that.
Yeah.
At all, bro. He absolutely comes across like a teenager. Of this generation?
Did you see the little? Did you see the little scuffle that he had with Kambosos' dad? And Kambosos' dad like grabbed him by the collar and kind of like pushed him out of there. I thought that was pretty impressive by Kambosos' dad, to be honest with you.
All right, let me tell you something, man. There's a difference between tough guys and boxers, okay? Now, a lot of boxers tend to be tough guys, right?
Yeah.
That's how they went to boxing.
Yeah.
But then you got the De La Hoyas and the certain guys that they just was from the house to the boxing gym, right?
Yeah.
And they learned how to be fighters, but they're not tough guys. They're not comfortable unless there's a referee in there keeping law and order, right?
Right.
But the problem with this thing of ours is you get around guys like me that's from the street and that has a fucking rap sheet a mile long and just so happen to be involved in fight, right?
Yeah.
So now there is no referee. There's no referee that's gonna keep me from knocking you the fuck out, right? And I know how to do it. So that changes things, bro.
Yeah.
That's a different world. Now I'm not gonna pretend I know what I just heard about it. Let me say this without saying names, okay? A good friend of mine ran him out the gym before. So That was like 2 years ago. So I've been knowing about that type of shit.
Yeah.
That's who that guy is. Even more so, why put that pressure on your son, man? Because you're not gonna fight back.
Right.
You're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna balk and then you're gonna say Tio, right? And here comes Tio because Tio ain't a sucker.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you hit his dad in front of him, he's gonna, right? He should.
Yeah.
But you understand, like the champion of the world, bro. He ain't got no business having.
I agree.
You supposed to make sure he don't get no shit.
I agree.
That's what you're
couldn't
supposed
agree
to do.
more. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Coach. I couldn't agree more.
Listen, I don't want to assassinate Junior Lopez's character because I really like his son. I'm really a fan of his son, and I wouldn't want his son to think I'm piling on him at probably his worst moment in his professional career.
Yeah.
I don't want to assassinate nobody's character, but if you want to start talking about the boxing world, what I seen in that corner, I can critique that. I can do that all for you.
Well, we need to get into that. I mean, that's your area of expertise there. I mean, we need to talk about what happened there.
It's just constructive criticism now, right?
Yeah. Coach, let me just tell you real quick, a couple things that crossed my mind, and I wanted to get your opinion on them, obviously. I love talking to you about boxing and combat sports in general. Before I do that, though, big shout out to Beast Coast Unlimited, Citizen Athlete Project, Ali Optimal Wellness, and Channel Lumber, our sponsors. Coach, it looks like we're getting Fairtex on board soon. Big thank you to Beast Coast, but it's looking we're getting Fairtex on board as our official glove sponsor. I mean, we're talking about, probably the best gloves.
Good gear.
Yeah, the best gloves in the world of kickboxing and Muay Thai, and I'm very proud that we got them on board, and we're always looking for more sponsors for this upcoming Fighters Rep show, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but shout out to all our sponsors. Thank you so much. Couple things that crossed my mind, Coach. First and foremost, I don't know where Kambosos came from. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Coach. I watched him. I studied him a little bit. I remember in his last fight against Lee Selby, the Welshman, that, I thought, I'll be honest with you, Coach.
You had Selby winning.
I had Selby winning. Maybe I'm wrong.
No. That fight was close, man.
It was close, and I saw Selby winning, and I said to myself, what does this guy got for Teofimo Lopez if he can barely, on a prayer, get by, Lee Selby? No disrespect to Lee Selby, who's a good fighter. I guess it shows the level of Lee Selby, this fight. Or Teofimo is not everything is cracked up to be, but I don't think we could say that either. I mean, you mentioned in a message to me after I messaged you about the fight, because I was just blown away by the result, that George Kambosos overperformed. I think that's partially correct, and I think that's correct, and I also think where Teofimo messed up was coming out guns blazing, aggressive, and reckless. Coach, he came out reckless. That was reckless what he was doing. He was putting his. You don't go in there with a grown, trained since age 7 or whatever it is, man, that's been throwing punches his whole life and knows what he's doing. That's sparred with Manny Pacquiao and fought at the highest level, even if it's just been in Australia mostly. You don't go in there and fight like that, at least in my opinion. I'm sure this is easy to say sitting on a couch or on this podcast. But I feel like soon as he went in there reckless like that and got caught with that big right hand and got sat on his ass, that set the tone for the fight. Kambosos earned his respect and just would. And Kambosos, Coach, for me, that mentality that guy has, I mean, that's not a guy that's not a guy that you can beat. You're going to have to knock that guy out. I mean, from what I saw, you're going to have to knock George Kambosos out to beat him. So I want you to take over and let me know what you think about that little train of thought I had right there.
I'm with you, brother. It's almost like Teofimo did something that a 23-year-old kid would do, huh?
Right. You know, we forget that he's a baby. You're right. We forget that he's a baby still.
It's almost like he's 23 years old and just beat White Jesus, and who everybody thought was, including yourself. I know you a
Yeah,
super
no,
Lomo
I
fan,
thought Loma was the man, bro. I still think he's the man.
and he is the man.
I
Don't
think
take
he's the
nothing from
man.
him,
Yeah,
but
he's the
you
man.
shortchanging Tio, right? You're shortchanging Tio there, but it's almost like that 23-year-old did a Tyson and bought into my shit don't stink, and y'all know this 13-1 motherfucker don't belong in the ring with me. It's almost like he was a kid that night, huh?
Big
Hey,
time. Big time. I mean, how do you go, though, Coach? How do you go from the composure he had in defeating Lomachenko to coming out guns blazing in the first round? I mean, I'm flummoxed. I'm
here
flummoxed.
you go. Here you go. This is how. This is how. You're Teofimo. I'm Teofimo's dad. All right?
Yeah.
Watch this. You just threw bombs, didn't land on nothing, didn't throw a single jab, and you ate a right hand, even though it was a flash, but it hurt you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that hurt.
You come back to the corner. Yeah. You come back to the corner, and the guy who you fought your first fucking amateur fight, and I happen to be your father. So what I say is gospel truth up until this point, including beating the top fighter in the world, right?
Yeah.
And I go, it was nothing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I need you to calm down. I need you to calm down. Why haven't you knocked him out already?
Wow, man.
What
Wow.
the fuck instruction? That's verbatim. That's verbatim what he said.
That's crazy.
That was a flash. You all right? Well, man, why you ain't knocking this dude out already? Go knock him out. That's as scatterbrained as instructions can be.
Yeah.
In a fucking corner.
Yeah.
And it got worse. It got worse.
What was going through his mind, Coach? I mean, what was going through his mind? What is this guy thinking?
It damn sure wasn't his fight. It damn sure what does my son have to stop doing in order to do what he needs to do? You understand?
I didn't see any urgency in that corner. I didn't see any regular urgency in that corner, like normal shit.
Other than cheerleading, and at some point, he went from cheerleading to telling T.O. he's winning. You winning. That's our round. You winning. To put it this way, and I said this earlier, I think so much of Teofimo that I never leaking and dude, that night I got a call from another good friend of mine, a great trainer, Carlos Moreno here in Houston.
Yeah.
He's a cut man, a head trainer, and he's got a few great prospects, especially his female, Carmen Vargas. I think she's like 4-0 right now. He hits me up. He says, "Coach, what the fuck is going on in that corner, brother? Are you hearing this shit?" I said, "Yeah, man." I said, Teofimo sits down leaking from the eye, and he gets up leaking from the eye. And Carlos said, "Nah, Coach, that's my guy." The cut man they had. He said, "Nah, that's my guy. I'm watching him, and fucking Junior Lopez is pulling him away. The fucking cut man's outside the ropes.
Wow, man. Wow.
Trying to stop a bloody cut. Instead of the father staying outside the ropes, letting the cut man get in the fucking thing so he can fix his face."
Wow, man. Wow.
Bro, that's amateur hour. That's fucking amateur hour, dude. So when one of my guys vouched for the cut man, well, I know it ain't the cut man. Right. So instead they telling the kid he's doing great and he's winning. Now, that's the only way I can account for T.O.'s fucking opinion after the fight.
Yeah.
He's telling you what he wants. His daddy convinced him through this fight. He's ahead on the score. There's no way they can take the fight from you. No one has seen that fight, bro. No one.
I laugh, but it's sad. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad. It was sad. He got. I mean, for me, he got his ass. He was getting his ass beat that whole fight, and for him, just for the dad, for Lopez Senior, I guess, to say after the fight that they won 10-2. I mean, I said to myself, and that it's because the industry wanted them to lose. I said, man, that's a conspiracy. Only you and your son are gonna believe, bro. If your son even believes that.
The only way that fight could be 10-2 is Kambosos.
I agree.
Because I told you it was 8-4 for me, Kambosos.
Yeah.
But I could see how a motherfucker who don't like Teo wouldn't even give him, but 2 rounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe the extra point from the knockdown. But yeah, man. But Teo said that shit. Why? Because his father convinced him of that in between rounds, bro. There was no sense of urgency. My son, he's not a Teo fan like you. He's not a Teo fan. He just don't have, Teo just ain't his guy, right? He just ain't. He's a southpaw. He likes your guy, Lomachenko, right? He likes the left hand fighter. He likes Bud Crawford, right? So he goes, Dad. Going into the 10th round, he said, Dad, Teo can't win this fight without a knockout, huh? I said, son, I think he's got to win these 3 rounds decisively to get a draw. The only way he wins this fight is a knockout on my call. So he goes out in the 10th round now. Again, I never thought he wasn't going to catch him, bro, because I think he's a great fighter. He catches him in that 10th. I said, well, here we go. One of the greatest finishers in the business, right? That was it, bro. He blew his wide right there. That was it. And he lost 11-12. I don't know what the fuck
that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy
round.
that they gave him any of those championship rounds.
I don't know what that was.
I'm with you, Coach. Let me ask you.
He damn sure didn't win.
Let me ask you, Coach. Let me ask you. That first round, what were your thoughts when he landed that right? I mean, because that right hand was money, and it looked like at the end of the round. Though, he rushed Teo and landed another one, but was off balance.
Let me say this. Another thing that I want to say about George Kambosos and his squad, right? Not only was George Kambosos on fire, right, and fought the fight of his fucking career. You know me, bro. I'm listening. I'm listening to everything, right? And I should know the name of this guy because he's Kambosos' trainer, he's Xander's trainer, and he's the Christina Cruz's trainer down there in Sweatbox in Florida, right? The Hispanic brother. I should know his name, man, but I don't know him. I never met him. Quentin was down there with him and sparred and worked some mitts with him, but I don't know him. I've never met him. I'm listening, bro, and you talk about a professional corner, right? You talk about a guy giving his guy. Now, George Kambosos don't fight like I fight, and I know you can see that, right? But for a guy who fights small, he fights small, right? For him, right? So I'm listening to his corner instruction. I'm going, he's fucking telling them all sorts of shit that's right. That's there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was telling George to take his right foot and step, little half step, before he chunked that his version of overhead right, which ain't my version, but their version, right? He was telling him to widen that back foot, and it's gonna hit him right on the button because Teo went into that shoulder bullshit.
Right.
Listen, that's the worst fucking. That's the worst habit that fighters have taken on since
Floyd.
Since, the Muhammad Ali shuffle, I guess. With that one on.
Yeah.
A guy like a Roberto. You try to fight that shell like that, especially if it's at the right time. I'm sorry, at the wrong time, and not correct. A guy like a Roberto Duran is gonna break your fucking
Yeah,
face, man.
yeah,
And George Kambosos kind of did what needed to be done. He widened that overhand right, and it would just go right over there, right into the temple. And he landed it in the first round, and he kept on consistently landing it the whole
yeah,
fight. My hats off to that guy, and I shouldn't know his name. My apologies. But the Hispanic brother down there at Sweatbox Boxing Gyms
yeah.
in Florida, man, you talk about a hell of a corner, man, that night. And I think they had Mike, my man Mike. I do know the cut man they had Brazil because he had to control the cuts. Because man, to say Tio had such an off night, Kambosos' face wasn't spotless either, though.
Yeah.
And Tio wasn't barely hitting him like he knows to do, right? So Mike was on his thing that night. Kambosos' coach was on his thing that night, and Kambosos fought a fucking hell of a fight, bro. That's why I don't want to take nothing from them guys, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell of a fight.
Besides that first round knockdown. Go ahead.
I think it was.
Say that again, coach.
I think we had a fight. I can't remember what fight we just had, and I told you, brother. I don't remember which fight recently, but I remember telling you, man, that's no corner I've seen in years. What fight was that?
I don't know. I know what you. I know.
You remember me saying
Yeah,
that?
I remember you telling me that.
Was it
But this one outdid it. I mean, are you trying to say this one outdid it?
Was it Wilder's corner, man?
Might have been.
Might have been Wilder's corner. Well, they just got beat. They just got beat for worst corner.
Damn.
In an undisputed title.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Coach, that first round knockout, right? I mean, that thing threw me for a loop. For me, that set the tone for the fight. You know, that might have been the end right there. But Teofimo comes back, round number 10, you mentioned it, gets the knockdown. And I start saying to myself, okay, Kambosos is breaking down now. He's the smaller guy at all throughout this fight. But this one hurt him. 10th round, he goes down. I say to myself, this might be it right here. Somehow, coach, he survives. He fights his way out of it, right? I mean, this guy, coach, this dude, I mean, you listen, you cannot I don't think you can teach that to too many people. I mean, there's guys that are born with that and guys that don't have that, you know?
That kid's game as they come, man. That's what you look for in working dogs, right?
Yeah.
Game. A dog that bites and won't let go. That's what you see with Kambosos, man. And to tell you the truth, you know, that 300 fucking Trojan warrior shit, bro, he believes that shit. He believes that shit.
Yeah, he sure does.
And goddamn it, I appreciate watching him. Because even when he went down, he was hurt, bro. He was hurt.
Yeah.
And he gave a little grin. And got his ass right back up. And really didn't crawfish, man. Came back in that 11th round and took the fight to Tio, man.
I mean, definitely. And, you know, Franklin Bentayan, thanks for being in here. He says big part was his stamina. Look, coach, stamina. The guy had stamina, great conditioning. The guy, you know, and I got to say, too, he seemed to be hitting really hard. I mean, he seems to have a pretty hard punch with both hands. And one thing that I noticed from him that I was impressed with, coach, was his ability to double up and triple up with the lead hand, with the left hand. Like, I felt like he would throw a jab and then he'd see like Tio might be blocking the other side, waiting on the right hand, and he would just hit him with 2 more left hooks or something. I was just like, damn, this guy's like machine gunning these left hands. I mean, he was fast,
Head, yeah, he had quick
Quick
hands too, bro.
hands, hit
Hey
hard.
man, that kid. Listen,
I'm wondering. I mean, I'm
that
wondering.
kid.
You know, we've never
Like
seen
I
him
said, bro.
perform like that. I'm wondering. I mean, is this guy
No,
a guy that can maintain his position? In your opinion, like and you know these other guys, Tank Davis, if he ever decides.
he can absolutely defend
Yeah,
that title,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Uh, you got to remember. I mean, this lightweight division is stacked, stacked, stacked. Uh, I don't believe. I don't. Well, you know how I feel about Haney, the fucking email champ. I'm not high on him. So I, I think JoJo Diaz might whoop him Saturday night. So
Yeah,
we'll see. But a guy like Kambosos with the tools he had, he can definitely get rid of fucking Haney, bro. Yeah, he can definitely do that. The only thing he's fighting is he wasn't. That size was a big difference. You
yeah. He
notice that
was,
the thickness that you see, the thickness that you seen T.O. had over Loma, hell, T.O. had it over him
but
too. It's just that kid. That kid was game, man. But listen, bad as people don't want to see it, that fucking Tank Davis, bro, is a he can put your fucking lights
yeah,
out, bro.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? And we haven't seen him hurt. We've seen him outbox.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have anyway. I think Leo Santa Cruz was cooler than him, all the way to get
I
knocked the
agree.
fuck out.
Yeah, I agree.
So uh Tank Davis could change a fight with one like Tio. Like
Right.
Tio could change a fight with like that. And this listen, man, I'm not gonna take nothing from Kambosos, man. I think he's up there with the rest of them. All those fights are great. I think Loma have his hands full with him. I think all of them have their hands full with him. What I'm saying is, you're gonna have to beat this guy. He's alive. He's alive.
You gonna, hey,
You're
you
gonna have to
are
beat
gonna
this
have to
guy.
beat him because you're not gonna. I don't know, man. That guy is something else, man. I mean, no offense,
Yeah,
coach. No offense.
very small. He was very thin.
No offense, coach. I see guys like that in MMA. I don't see too many guys like that in boxing. I see guys like that in MMA that are willing to die in there. I see some boxers like that too, but man, this guy was like he was ready to like that Spartan shit like we were talking
I just
about,
don't. I don't want to short. I don't want to short Kambosos on
He's
his
got
skills
skills
either,
too.
though.
Yeah, he's
You know what
got
I'm saying?
skills too.
Like he was in there. He was in there combinating them punches, man. It ain't gonna be none of that playing it shit that Haney does. I could touch you 2 times before you touch me and shit. That shit ain't gonna work with no fucking Kambosos, bro. He's gonna have to knock Kambosos out. We know that Haney is a bigger guy than these
Yeah.
guys, right? But hell, he can't throw a punch correctly, man. That dude's an athlete, man. Kambosos is a fighter. Kambosos is a fucking fighter. That dude, I bet you Kambosos will fight 2 motherfuckers. You pay him
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
He don't give a shit. But hey, T.O. didn't get deterred, bro. He kept coming
Yeah.
forward. He kept coming forward. He just fought wrong,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And man, I felt like I ate a lot of crow for this one, coach, because I did a whole video about how I thought Selby beat Kambosos and it was a ridiculous decision. And there's no way, I didn't feel like there was any way in hell he could beat a guy like Tio, man. And for that to happen the way it did is just wild. I wanted to quickly touch on. Go ahead, coach. Go ahead.
No, I'm with you, bro. You're not by yourself.
I wanted to quickly touch on the other. There was another title fight on the co-main event that I was kind of impressed with. That was an entertaining fight. It was Kenichi Ogawa versus Azinga Fuzile, and I felt like just like in the main event, the commentators were heavy. I mean, probably way more if I'm being honest. heavily favoring Fuzile. It looks like Fuzile was a guy that everybody thought was going to win that fight, even though this Japanese fighter Kenichi Ogawa, was definitely a tough kid. But I felt like even when he was landing shots and really hurting Fuzile bad, the commentary was almost crediting Fuzile for how tough he was, as opposed to giving Ogawa props. But I kind of wanted to give Ogawa props because I thought, man, what a fight that was. Another kind of warrior kind of fighter. He was very tough. What did you think of that fight? If you had a chance to watch it.
I watched it. Listen, man, I tweeted out before the whole show started, right? Let's get ready to mute the TV, because it's the worst fucking commentary in boxing, bro.
Yeah,
the Zone,
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
The Zone. You got a guy out there like Paulie who was fired over some bullshit and he's probably, if he's not the best color guy, he's equal with all the best, right? And he can't get a job. And you got these guys that's looking at a fight and don't know what the fuck's going on, man. The problem with that, there's no big problem except that they educating the fans who's watching, right? So when you're not crediting the Asian kid for what he's doing, but crediting up, then it goes without getting credit to the. I don't like to say casual fans, because that has become a catchphrase like boxing IQ, right?
Right.
Everybody. Sean Porter used to like to say he's got a great boxing IQ.
Yeah.
Nobody. Every time you about to fight, well, he can't match my IQ. You fight like a running back, son. You fucking your daddy is a football coach, man.
Yeah.
Fuck IQ you talking about, man. But because it's the pop culture word, that's just what some shit people say, like styles makes fights. People say that just because they heard it a million times, right? But they don't know what the fuck they talking. Well, that's the problem with these commentators, man. When they talking, people are listening. So it ain't about the casual fan. It's about just a boxing fan. He's sitting. You're going to sway a boxing fan because you're the guy, right?
Right.
So, man, it's hard to tell people, man, because it's like, man, these, bruh, it's the worst fucking commentary in boxing.
I was sitting there, coach, watching this Japanese kid, beat the shit out of this other guy, and all they could talk about was how tough Fuzile is and who he'd been in there with and what he was going to do next and who they would they even mentioned who they would like to see him fight next, and I'm sitting there like, but the Japanese dude is beating his ass. What are you people talking about here?
And I never, I wasn't hip to the Japanese kid. What was his nickname? Right hand? Something
right hand crash or something like that.
Right crash or something, yeah, but he still wanted to use it in English. I thought that was funny, man. And he started crashing that right hand in there on that southpaw like he's supposed to. But that southpaw was catching him with his lead too. I was like, man, somebody's going to sleep in this fight.
Yeah.
So what's his name? Zealy, the champ, right?
Yeah. Well, I think
they were kid, bro. But yeah, he was getting thoroughly beat up, man. It's something about fighters, bro. Them Asian fighters are tough, ain't they? Every time you see one, even in the losing effort.
Yeah.
Man, bro, them guys are game, man. I don't know what them kids on. I like if you out there, you almost gotta be like, well, shit, it's about to be some action in this motherfucker. Let's see what happens. But yeah, he and they was getting no comment, man, none.
Yeah. No, Top Rank, you're right. Top Rank seems to get a lot of Asian fighters that comes through, and good Asian fighters. I mean, really good Asian fighters,
I about to see when it was, but they put, the Zone was doing a show, and they fucked around and put Roy Jones on there too. I said, oh, this is the blind leading the fucking blind, man.
Oh,
this is going to be fucking comedy tonight. I let them motherfuckers, that's when I'll listen to it. Because that motherfucking Roy, as great as he was probably, and he may have been the greatest athlete to ever box, right?
Yeah.
But that motherfucker will not nothing, man, on the mic. He'll say he, the way to land a jab, how to throw it, and he's not throwing the jabs,
Oh
and
my
everybody
God.
goes, like, yeah, I'm like, this guy here, bro. This is guy with severe comedy.
Oh man, coach. Oh man. No. Excellent.
I don't mean
Excellent.
to, I don't mean to offend none of the guys. If that's y'all heroes and shit, and that's who y'all listen to, continue to listen to them. We need fans, bro.
For sure. For sure. And I definitely,
If you enjoy that comedy, check it out.
I definitely love Roy Jones, but you know, I kind of agree. He's kind of a little bit off the mark sometimes. But coach, man, it was really interesting to hear your take on what happened there. You know, I feel the same way. I'm still shocked, man. This was a real upset, man. I mean, this was a real upset.
Here we go. Here we go now. Did you know? Because I didn't know. Did you know Tio and his wife busted up?
Tio and what now?
His wife. His wife left him. You knew that?
No way. No way.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it was public notice. It was public that his family and his wife didn't get along. Yeah, they used to do vignettes and shit on that, remember?
Yeah.
Well, I just heard some scuttlebutt where his wife left the house and shit, man. So this kid was going through it.
Yeah,
shit, man.
poor kid.
He got the COVID. So clearly his mind wasn't on this fight the way he fought, and clearly he didn't have no help in the corner. Man, this kid is up against it, bro. And me as a fan, I'm going at 23, 24 years of age. Put it this way. I didn't fault Kenny Porter for stopping that fight. You know why? Because nobody knows his son like he does, right? He knows how hurt he is or how hurt he ain't. But what I did fault Kenny Porter was how he threw his fucking son under the bus at the end of the fight. Man, that ran me. Listen, he didn't listen to me for the preparation. And I heard Sean address it on his podcast and shit. But Sean Porter's a 34-year-old former champion who ducked no one, right? If his dad did that to him and stopped that fight, Sean decided there is no place with me fighting without my dad, so let me just hang it up.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Tio don't have that luxury, bro. He's got, 17 fights? He's 23, 24 years old. Fucking house in disarray. And he just lost to a 13-1 underdog. And I'm telling you, Tio needs some help. Tio needs a trainer. And it ain't going to work if he keeps his father there, because I told you, I've been around his father. His father ain't going to take the step back. His father ain't going to step. The father should be the one who say, son, you got to go get another coach. Let's go find one. Yeah. And that's what a father does. And it's fucked up because this kid's going to end up having to cut ties with his fucking family after losing his wife and shit. Looks like to me, I don't know. In order to reach the potential I believe he has as a fighter. Yeah. Because what do? The Tio can't retire right now. He's got to get some kickback. Right. He's a kid. Right. And he can bring in brother. G, let's say for some reason Tio messages me tomorrow and say, Coach, I'm coming to Houston, bro. You already know I'm going to say, bring your ass. Leave that motherfucker at wherever y'all stay. Because I'm going to be able to beat him up. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I would ride with you till you end. And I would not get involved with you and your dad. Just leave your fucking daddy where he's at. And we going to go and fucking train and get ready. And it doesn't matter if it's a guy like me or a guy like King or a guy like Bobby down here in Maine or a guy like, any handful of the big, Freddie Roaches, any of those guys. He's got to get the fuck out the way, bro. That's just what it is. And it's sad. And I'm just a realist, bro. If he asks me, I'm gonna tell him that's my opinion. Now go get somebody who's gonna help you get you and win.
Right.
You got too much fucking potential, and you don't want to be done fucking ended it like a Mike Tyson. You hit 23 and it's been downhill ever since, right? So I hate for this kid to be in the position he is, the predicament he's in. You know, hopefully he straightens out his home life if there's truth to that. But man, this kid, you know, I was listening to my partner, Montero does the Ring Magazine podcast, his own podcast. I say partner, we're acquaintances, but we talking shit and message and all that. And he said, man, Tio needs to get his ass back to top rank, get at that top rank gym out there in Vegas, get him with a trainer, and get serious. I agree. I fucking agree, man. Don't waste your fucking talent, son. You get a what you get, G? A 10-year window for the most part.
Yeah.
And you fucking, you know, this has been the last 2 years. You got 8 more years to make all the money in the world and make your mark. Go get you a trainer, son. Go get you a trainer, man.
Coach, man. That's money, man. That's all money. That Bud Crawford, you mentioned Kenny Porter. You know, I agree with you on T.O., but that Bud Crawford, man, he's something else. That guy is super special. And now we've got, you know, we mentioned Devin Haney. We've got him and JoJo Diaz going at it December 4th, this Saturday. So, you know, I think it's important we give the knuckleheads, you know, a little prediction. What do you think is going to happen in that fight?
I think it's a 50-50 fight, bro. I think if JoJo's able to cut that distance and bang out with it, listen, JoJo's left-handed, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he's a southpaw because when he was fighting Farmer, it was left-handed against left-handed. And Diaz had that big old cut and Farmer couldn't do nothing. Listen, man. Devin Haney is not an educated pugilist, bro. Yeah. He's just not. He's not gonna know how to fight JoJo Diaz outside of out-athlete. Now, if he out-athletes him, he'll go to a win, right? And maybe even JoJo jumps into a shot he gets hit with because he gets desperate. Maybe that happens. But if it turns into a fight, a fist fight, man, Devin Haney ain't gonna be able to fight with that little dude, man. Yeah. So I think it's a 50 fight that either Haney wins a decision or JoJo cuts that distance and gets to him, man. But if I had to make a favorite, you gotta go with the under. You gotta say 2-1. Let's call it 50-50. But let's go 2-1 Haney. Yeah. What you got?
You know, I think my brain is telling me Haney by decision. But you know, Coach, I'm gonna let my heart take over on this one, just because I'm out here in California, and I know how these boys get down out here, man. And JoJo Diaz is a tough SOB, man. And you know, I got a feeling. You know, I had Teofimo winning that fight, and then when I saw the press conference and how confident George Kambosos was, I was worried. A worry came over me. And I didn't change my prediction, but I said, you know, I feel like this guy really knows something that we don't. And he's sparred with Pacquiao, and he's had all this experience. Maybe he'll show us something. Yeah. I still thought Teo would win, but Kambosos, you know, gave me that feeling. JoJo Diaz has given me a little bit of that feeling as well. You know, I don't think he's a speed bump. I don't think he's a stepping stone. I think he's a proud Cali Mexican, Cali boy, and he's not going to sit down for nobody. And he showed that with Tevin Farmer. And I don't think the problem with Haney, he doesn't have any pop. I mean, he doesn't have any pop. I don't know how he's going to keep this kid off him.
He's got zero pop.
Right.
That chin is right there in the middle. and he's almost like he's almost, well, I don't want this to be misunderstood, but he's almost like think of Amir Khan, where Amir Khan was getting so much credit, and then we found out, oh, he can't even take a punch though. So let's say Haney, we don't know if Haney punches like that because we only seen him hurt that once, right? And it was, he bounced back in that next round.
Yeah.
But it's all flash, what I'm saying. It's all flash with this kid, man, and I don't understand how people don't see that.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You know, I think a young Linares would have finished him. That's my opinion. I think a young Linares would have finished him in that fight, and I don't think Jojo Diaz is old enough to get into that position and not capitalize on it. I think if Jojo Diaz hurts him, he's gonna get him out of there. You know, that's my opinion.
Dude, Linares was supposed to whoop him, bro. Linares just kept holding, waiting.
Right.
And then by the time he clipped him, he done had the habit of waiting.
Right.
When he really was supposed to just punch through him, man. Linares had enough left to beat Haney. He just fought the wrong fight.
Yeah.
So Jojo ain't gonna fight like Linares, but Jojo's gonna fight like Jojo. But I would be shocked to see if he don't come. Like you said, tough Cali kid, Mexican pride, he's coming, man.
Yeah.
And again, Haney, I don't want to come across like, I think if Haney had a trainer, I think you take an athlete like that and teach him how I don't know if he can still learn at this point, but if you take an athlete like that and teach him the science, now you got a great fighter, right?
Yeah.
But you take an athlete and just keep letting him win off his athleticism. Well, now you got a guy that he's 2 feet in now. He's got to fight real people now, right?
Yeah.
So now he's gonna fight fighters. Where I wouldn't call Jojo Diaz an athlete. I call him a fighter.
Yeah.
He's a fighter. That kid wasn't a basketball player or a football player. That kid, he's a fighter.
Right.
So he's not gonna back up off this dude, man. So I'm interested in seeing that fight. It ain't that I'm trying to shit on Haney, bro. It's just what I see with him. You know, I'm always keep it what I see 100%.
Yeah.
And I told you a long time ago when I was rating my lightweights. You know, I got this one, and way down here somewhere I got Haney.
Yeah.
Because the minute he fights a fucking fighter, man, you gonna see the difference. That's what
I agree. Hey, I agree. You know, and again, I think the safe pick probably is Haney, but just, you know, knowing what I know about Diaz, the way I feel about him, man, I just think he's scary, man. He's a scary prospect for a guy like Haney, like you said. That's more of an athlete. Coach, we're planning FightersRep 12. I just wanted to touch on this real quick before I let you go, man. We're planning FightersRep 12. I'm still trying to book the venue. We're looking at a couple dates in February. Coach, the last one, man, I just wanted to share with you and everybody in Knucklehead Nation. It was incredible. Thank you to everyone for tuned in. We had almost 300,000 views on the live stream, Coach. It blew me away. We had some incredible moments. And we had a fight, Coach, between David Pacheco and Andrew Wynn that I want to send to you. I'm not sure if I sent it to you or not. But I refer to it as the Gotti Ward of kickboxing. I mean, that's how crazy this fight was, Coach. I really got to send this to you, and I recommend everybody watch it. The highlight will be coming out soon, but the fight is already on the channel. And I'm very excited about this upcoming card, Coach. I've got 8 pro fights matched already, several amateur fights as well. This is going to be the biggest card we've ever had. We're just locking in the venue, and so much talent on this card, Coach, that I think you'll love watching it as soon as it happens. But real quick before I let you go, let them know, Coach, where they can follow you and what you've got going on, because obviously you're a big time coach. We've got Quentin Randall. The guy's an absolute beast. Just let them know where they can follow you, what you've got going on next, Coach Derek Collinsworth.
Right, you guys, I recently got hacked on my Instagram. I know you probably seen that. So
I hate that shit, dude.
I had to start all over, man. So my Instagram is Collinsworth Boxing Official. But you guys can follow me on the Soapboxing Podcast. So on Instagram, we at Soapboxing Podcast, and the YouTube channel is Soapboxing Podcast. We talked to all kind of fighters. We done had all kind of boxers on there, big famous ones. I like to do a lot of people from Houston, and just anybody. I mean, I talk to guys out of Philly. I got a guy, my next guy, he's fighting out of St. Louis. He's based out of Atlanta, undefeated guy. But y'all can follow me on Soapboxing Podcast because we also commentate the fights. We doing the fights on the 4th.
Which is very cool. I like that you're doing that, Coach, and expanding your horizons as a commentator and as a coach. And you've even had me on. Yeah. You even had me on there, a kickboxing promoter. So.
Yeah, man, and I enjoy talking to you. That's why I love what we're doing here because, man, we all boxing nerds, man, fighting nerds. So as long as we get to talk and educate, I try to educate people a little bit better than the zone commentary. That's what I try to do.
That's not gonna take a lot. That's not gonna take a lot of work for us, Coach.
Easy picking. I'm picking the low hanging fruit. But yeah, we're gonna be commentating live on Soapboxing Podcast. I think what we're gonna do now, we're gonna broadcast the whole show, and then I think we'll come on for the last. The main events. We got the NABF. We got the NABF title fight. 2 guys here local in Houston. Everson Garcia versus D'Angelo Keys. D'Angelo's like fucking 17-1. The champ's like 17-0, something like that. Great fighters. Yeah. Southpaw versus a conventional fighter. And Alfonso Lopez, the local guy here who fought Zerto Ramirez right before he joined Golden Boy.
Yeah.
This will be his first fight back, and he's fighting for the new WBC
Nice. Yeah.
So those 2 guys are the main events, and I'll pick another fight on that. One of the good fights on there to broadcast. We'll commentate through them, but then just let the whole show play. We'll be ringside, so you'll have a good view, and then you'll be able to hear us call the fights live. But yeah, man. So we busy, man. Y'all follow me at Soapboxing Podcast, Collinsworth Boxing Official, man. And we on all the social media, so whatever.
I love it.
That's what it is.
I love it, Coach. I love it. Me and you are going to be doing this. We've decided we're going to stick to this Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's 8:30 Houston, Texas time. Central. And Houston, Texas time. 8:30 Central. And we're going to do this every Monday because it's perfect because, it lets us react to the fights that happened over the weekend. And it lets us talk about the fights coming up and give by. I think Jojo Diaz wins probably by a late stoppage or a decision out there, even though I think Haney is probably the more intelligent pick. And there you go, Coach. That's all I got for everybody, man. Appreciate you guys for joining us at Knucklehead Nation. Again, be sure to subscribe, like, share this with all your friends. Leave your comments below. We'll get to them on next week's show. Or you can reach out to us. You can reach out to Coach Derek at, is it Derek?
Yeah, absolutely,
is it Derek Collins?